All right. And we'll go on. Speaking of the Eagles, we will go on to the Eagles. And my Eagles question is a player-based question as well. And it is Jalen Hurts will end top 3 in MVP.
I'm going to go take a shit in the urinal on that one. I think MVP for Jalen Hurts. He had his time a couple years ago, but I just don't see statistically a season where that happens for him. So I think if you said top 5, I think I could have been there. But I actually am not as high on the Eagles this year as I think a lot of people are going to be. So that's going to be my take later on when we talk about the record. But there you go.
Yo, where's Tim at? You don't even want to know, bro. I just walked in.
Yeah, you
shit
don't
in the
go
urinal,
in there.
bro.
We lost.
That's some Lil Wayne shit right there. Taking a shit.
Someone told him about Jalen Hurts. He's like, hold that thought right there. I got to go to the bathroom.
I got to get to the potty. I exit the potty to the potty.
I did not even make it to the stall. I just went straight to the urinal. Oh shit.
Hey, sir, my bad.
I didn't even hear Tim. I didn't even hear Tim's reasons. I was just picturing someone being like, I can't even make it. I got to go right in the urinal. So,
my bad, boys. I'm sorry. Just let me be.
So he's gonna take a shit in the urinal.
Let me be. He also said outside in the urinal. So why is there a urinal outside?
What the?
I'm sure
like
somewhere in America,
potty and then the porta urinal.
Somewhere in America, they definitely got outdoor urinals.
Oh yeah,
and
it's there for a reason.
That's even worse than an indoor.
And I would actually take a bet that it's like Texas or Florida.
Listen, I've never seen an outdoor urinal in Florida.
I never saw it when I lived
it's somewhere.
there.
It's somewhere in Florida.
You're not looking
probably
hard
somewhere in the
enough, Brandon.
boonies.
Yeah, it's probably in
probably somewhere in
USA.
Exactly.
Somewhere in the
Exactly.
boonies.
Exactly. Go to Gator County.
All right, Brandon or Kyle.
Brandon, go ahead.
Damn, what was okay? Jalen Hurts
and top 3 MVP.
Jesus, it just threw everything off. I'm gonna take a
shit.
I'm gonna take a small sip to that. I'm not shitting in urinals like Timmy over here. I'm gonna take a small sip to that. The reason being, I have this weird vision in my head that teams are gonna load the box up this year or try to allocate every asset that they have to stopping the run, and they're gonna make Jalen Hurts pass the ball a lot more. I see double-digit rushing touchdowns, and I could see him cracking over 4,000 passing yards. Like I think there's a world where that could happen. And like he's got the skill position obviously around him, like it's about as good as it gets. Like I could really see that. Like if the teams that they put 7-8 guys in the box, like I mean you got to make them pay down the field. Like why not? So yeah, I could definitely see that happening.
I'll take a tiny sip just by like letter of the law. Like they're gonna be a good team. If you think the Eagles are like a 13-win team, then yeah, in theory, Hurts should be there, right? In theory, he should be better than last year. Saquon was their best offensive player last year, right? So in theory, I'm taking a sip. In general, Jalen Hurts confuses the hell out of me. People can kind of make the Tom Brady early Patriots comparison with, the fact that he's got a loaded defense, weapons around him. And, people would tell you that maybe Tom Brady didn't have to do a lot. When in reality, Tom Brady was making throws when they needed them, at least. I don't think Hurts does a ton of that. I think
he does. I think he does.
Yeah.
I mean, Super Bowl wise,
Sure.
I think he's played super great in the Super Bowls,
and that's exactly why he's confusing to me. You could make the argument he's outplayed Mahomes in 2 Super Bowls, right? But I'm also not sure if I'd want him down 10 NFC Championship game, fourth quarter. I don't know. I still have reasonable questions.
I would.
And you're not wrong. But I'm saying I go back and forth with Jalen Hurts probably more than any quarterback in the league, where I can't really pin down what my own opinion is on him. He's not a scrub. I don't think he's overrated by any means, but I also don't know if he's, like I said last year, I remember vividly, I think it was Keenan's last QB tiers. I don't know where he had Justin Herbert, but I remember me and Tim were like, man, I love Justin Herbert in this Eagles offense more than Jalen Hurts. Like, I think that would take them over the top. And if you put, and granted, you could say this about any QB ever, damn near, but obviously if you put Hurts in the Chargers offense, it wouldn't look the same. But I don't know. I don't know how many offenses Hurts would succeed in the way he does, especially with this defense. They don't ask him to do a lot when things are going well for them. That's the thing. It's not on Jalen Hurts' shoulders. Now, he could take a leap. He could absolutely take a leap, and then this is a moot point. But I just don't know Jalen Hurts year to year.
So that's fair, and I understand. I think that if you put him in the Chargers offense, I think that they would be the exact same, if not a little better. Be quite honest.
You can make an argument.
And
you can make an argument.
Just because of the way now Harbaugh is like, we're going to make safe, smart throws. We're going to utilize the rush. They kind of mini Eagles. They just obviously don't have the personality. In a way, obviously it's not the same. Obviously the Eagles are just such a mauling team, and the Chargers have like a lot of good offensive linemen in a way, but like that's just kind of the style. So I actually think that specific offense that you mentioned, the Chargers, I actually think that he could flourish in
real quick. And this is going to sound like I'm moving goalposts. Yes, down 10, like Hurts can get you back in that game. But I would say, okay, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and of course those are the top four. Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, all them. Down 17, you're safe with them. That's where I don't know with Hurts. Yeah. And that's where Hurts gets talked about. That's where you're going to hear Hurts getting talked about this year. That's kind of my thing. Hurts is obviously a winner. We know that. Like, he's a leader. He's a winner. But I do find myself just going back and forth with, like, what my opinion is on him. Because I do think, like, I think from year 1 to year 2, he improved a lot. And then from year 2 to year 3, I was kind of like, what's going on here? It can look ugly.
Up. And then he went like this and kind of dipped and then went up again. So like that's kind of, so I get what you're saying. He's kind of been a little bit of like a roller coaster-ish in a sense, but I think you're right. It's like down 17. Do you feel comfortable for him bringing you back? I don't know if I feel more comfortable about many people outside of the top four, unless it might be Matt Stafford in like a playoff game, because like, you know, you can just get hot.
Baker.
Like these guys can kind of, and like, with Hurts, you don't really know because they were leading in almost every game. Like they just were, like for his career, a lot of the time they're just up or they're really close. So you don't really get to see it with him. For this, I'm taking a sip for sure because I'm in the boat of Josh Allen last year threw for 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 6 picks, and won an MVP. And like, not that like Jalen Hurts is as good as Josh Allen. He's not. Like I don't think they're on the same tier. We'll get to that. I mean, I don't think I'm really spilling like, oh my God, it's crazy, Keenan. You're giving up so much of your tears. But I just like 28 and 6 is just, he's already got 22-6 in his career. Last year he had 18-5, 3,700 yards. He's already gotten that in a season. I think he could give you 3,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, 7 picks with 10 rushing touchdowns. And I think, and if you're a 13-4 team, like roughly around there, or if maybe even they're 14-3 and like they just like are really rolling, I think he could get to that top 3. So I have a sip. I mean, we'll know who I have for my MVP here in about a week and a half. I already have mine locked in, and I'm happy about mine. But yeah. So, and I'm just gonna go in since where I'm right here. The Eagles, I have them at 12-5. I had them 11-6, and the Commanders 10-7. But the Commanders play the Eagles, I think, the last week of the season, and I actually switched that from a win to a loss for them. It's like that kind of altered it. So I think they could be around that 11-6. I think it'll be tough sledding this year, and you've got an off season to figure a team out. So like that's the big thing is like obviously when they're going to win the Super Bowl, celebrating and everything, you got all these coaches. Okay, that's what we got to focus on because that's the top of the mountain right now. We got to go kind of gun at that. So you're going to find some schemes and things that worked against them. They'll go through. So I got them 12-5 because they're super talented. But at the same time, I don't think that they're going to just run off a 15-2 season again. I think last year you had the schedule plus their talent working, or 14-3. You had their schedule plus their talent work for them a little bit last year, and I think this year with how tough of a schedule they are, they're going to take a little bit of a dip, but not too far because obviously they only are going to lose 2 more games in my head.
I got them going 13-4. winning the division. I agree with your point, Keenan, on teams figuring out Philly, especially with the Super Bowl, like because you got all 31 teams are watching it, all the other 31. But to the point I made earlier, I really do think that this season that maybe they tweak the offense a little bit. And when I say tweak, more so, I think they're going to pass it a little bit more because I think they're going to have to. I don't know if I trust Saquon to play 16 games again. We know what his injury history is like. And two, like I said, I think teams are really going to load the box. Like I think they're going to face a lot of man pressure blitzes, just to stop Saquon because like that was their bread and butter last year. And then I'm thinking, hey, if you put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hand, I think he's good enough to make all the throws. I think he's a really good quarterback, and I think that AJ Brown's one of the best receivers in the league, and I think that Devontae Smith is one of the most underrated receivers in the league. I think he could actually be a number one on a lot of teams.
He could be. I mean, if you're right in what you're kind of solidifying, there are a lot of the time you're going to have shots, and he's the kind of burner down the field. He could have like a really nice fantasy year if that's kind of the mindset of you. Like, 80 catches, 1,300 yards, and 9 touchdowns is on the board for him. Kind of.
Yeah, like I said, I think Hurts gets close to 4,000 yards this year, going from 29 to 4,000. I think that means Saquon goes from probably 2,000 to 1,400-ish or whatever. Yep. And I think the defense is going to be good. All those guys are getting, they're going to be a year older, the second year in the league, and they should hypothetically get better teams. So,
okay.
I got them at 11-6 winning the division. A lot of the points you guys have made are exactly what I'm thinking. Is I think they're going to try to limit Saquon. I think Saquon doesn't play the full season. Injury history is real here. If you look at New York, only 2 seasons did he ever play the full season. So I think that'll happen. And AJ Brown has been dealing with a hamstring injury this entire offseason, and we still haven't really seen him participate as a wide receiver in practice. So that kind of scares me. And then the defense. We see rookies have sophomore slumps all the time on defense, and a good chunk of this defense was rookies that were shining in positions. So I think they're dialing it back, coming down from, what were they, 13 wins or 14 wins last year?
I think they were 14-3.
I think so. So I
think they're, or maybe they were 13-4 because they lost the last week of the season.
Seems like 13. I think the other year they went to the Super Bowl, they had 14 wins.
14-3.
Yeah, it was.
14-3.
Good memory.
So I got them at 11-6. I think they'll still be a great team. They'll still run the ball good. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had them at 11-6, bumped them up to 12-5, strictly because of their talent. Honestly, man, like 99% of fans hate Nick Sirianni. I'm actually a Nick Sirianni fan. Like, I actually think he's like a really fundamentally sound coach when it comes to just like clock management, which some Eagles would like kill me if I said that, because he does have some boneheaded clock management moments. But as far as like running the ball, eating up the clock, like I think he's like one of the best I've seen as far as down in clock management when it comes to that. Not saying he's perfect. He has his hiccups, but one of the best.
He sticks to what he does and sticks to who he is.
Exactly.
And that's like, and that's all you can really ask for in a coach is just be who you are and what you are supposed and what you're built to be.
Exactly. And this defense is going to be ridiculous. Defense was super tough. One thing I do want to say, Eagles have a new OC, which we saw what that looked like, I think 2 years ago when they switched over OC, or they lost their OC and their DC. So, I mean, that could be growing pains. Saquon might look a little different. I'm with Tim and Brandon. Good chance he misses like 3 or 4 games, right, with his injury history. So, that being said, the talent's too much, right? They should eke out 12 wins. But, like I was saying earlier, there's a world where it's 9 or 10 wins and they're fighting for their life. Like Tim said earlier, the NFC East stat, that's a real thing. No one's repeated in like 2 decades. So the writing's on the wall, but this Eagles team is talented enough to buck that trend. But I won't be in the least bit surprised if we look up in December, January, and it's the Cowboys or Commanders at the top. So, yeah, but Eagles have that. The link is a tough place to play in November, December, January too, going for them. So I can't imagine them actually falling below. I mean, I just said I wouldn't be surprised, but I mean, a lot would have to go right for the Giants in particular for the Eagles to end up with 9 wins. So looking forward to the NFC East though.